Today in the dirty shop, or dirty front yard in this case, I'm going to be building a new disc golf basket. This is a prototype for some future baskets that I want to be really heavy duty. If you've seen my previous build on a disc golf basket, it was light and quick and easy. If you want to put it in your yard for a putting basket, something to practice on, it's great. But if you put it out in the field for a general use in a course, it would probably get destroyed fairly quickly. So I'm building a heavy duty basket for long-term use. I want to build eventually 9 of these or more for a church camp so that they can have a full course. I'll go in there and I'll cement them in and make them permanent emplacements. And that way the church camp has a really nice quality or semi-quality disc golf course. So what I've done is I've measured a regular basket that we've got here in the yard. And I've got 21 inches between the chains, 18 inches between the chains and the top of the basket. The basket is 27 inches wide, and the pole from the ground to the top of the chains is 51 inches. I'll be using a 2-inch pole for this. 1.5 inches would work fine, but I wouldn't want to go any smaller for something this heavy. So what I've got for the materials, here's my pole. This one's just an old fence post. It's kind of beat up and dinged up, but it's straight. It's tall enough for what I want to do. And I'm going to have to find a base for it because it's not long enough to cement into the ground, and I want it to be mobile anyways. So I'll have to find some sort of base, but for now, I'm not going to worry about that. I'll probably find an old tire rim or car rim or something like that. An old steel rim would work perfect for a base for this. For the crossbars, I'm using 3/4 inch electrical conduit. It's sturdy, cheap, and it's galvanized, so it will hold up to the weather really well. And on the ends of this conduit, this is really sharp, so if you hit that with your disc, it would cut the edge of your disc, and I don't want that. So I got some of these 1/2 inch PVC pipe caps to go over it. And these don't fit on here right now, but when I use a heat gun on these and heat these up, they'll squeeze right on there. It'll be perfect. For the basket, I'm going to use this old tire, and these tire shop will give you tires. They have to pay to recycle them anyways. So if you go down to the tire shop, they'll give you a free tire or whatever you need. Just take your tape measure them up and get the one size you want. This one's exactly 27 inches to the outside, or maybe not exactly, but really close. And I'm just going to cut the sidewall out of this tire. There's steel belts in the top of the tire where the tread is, but they don't carry it through the sidewall. So you can actually, if you push on the sidewall of the tire, I don't know if you could see it, but it gets soft right here on the edge of the tread. The steel belts end right there, so I can cut right inside of this. There's like this nice line here. I'm going to cut right inside that line. I'll mix the steel belts. It'll give me a nice, solid, permanent basket that's not going to break or damage your disc. And once again, I'll be using tire chains because I've got them. They're cheap and kind of unique to what I do. And if you live in a climate where chains are used, most people have switched over to the cable chains, and everybody's got 12 sets of these sitting in their barn, and you can get them for virtually free. So I'm going to get on it and build a basket. right, now I'm ready to put my chains on this basket. I've got my two bars, my crossbars here, and I've got my chains set up here. I've got the required amount of bolts and washers and nuts to put them on with. I put them into my nice little bolt holder disc here. So when you get these chains, these two chains that I have here are lighter car chains. This one's a little heavier. This is more of a truck chain, but it's not too bad. And I've basically taken and figured out where the center of this chain is. Okay, so we're going to fold it in half, right? And we're going to put that kind of halfway point over the pole like this. All right, and we're going to do it on the second one the same way. So this chain is not quite even, but it doesn't really matter. So I'm going to put that on the pole as well. Now that I've got those two on there, I'm going to put my crossbars in, and I need to make sure these two center holes line up. So I'll put one in here. I'll put one in here. And I've got my long 1/4 inch bolt. That's going to go through both crossbars like this. And that keeps these crossbars from scooting around. It doesn't need to be bolted through. It's just there. Now, in the future, I could bolt it through and it'll be fine. Now, I'm going to put these chains on. I get the free ends of the chains, and I want one on the exterior and one on the interior of these holes, so that I have the chains kind of cross towards the centers, and I'll show you a top view of this once it's done. Okay, so now I've got my chains basically mounted on. I just finger tighted these bolts. These bolts obviously need to be shorter, but they're the ones I had, and they're all attached together. I've done this crosswise pattern because I like the way it lines up over the basket better. If you look at it at this angle here, you see what I'm talking about. I've taken the chain from the outside to the inside on each one, and that way it just fills in the basket a little better for these tire chains, and it makes the gap between the points a little shorter, because if this gap was too wide, the chain would be stretched really tight. So now we're going to put the safety caps on the outside of this, and then we're going to go test it. Now I'm on to basically the final step. I'm going to take these caps, these 3/4 inch PVC caps, and I'm going to make it so they fit over this 3/4 inch electrical conduit, which obviously right now it does not. If you don't have a heat gun and you're a tinkerer like me, you need to get one. You could turn PVC into all kinds of things. I've made a huge amount of things with PVC. I made splints for your arm. When my daughter got a broken arm, I made her a splint. The doctor said it was so good that she didn't have to give her a splint. So I just made it out of PVC, and I've made ladders for my boat. I've made bows, like bow and arrow type bows, all kinds of things. So get yourself a heat gun, and you can do a lot of stuff with PVC and a heat gun. So I'm just going to take these little bits of pipe. I'm going to heat them up on the table here. And once they're warm enough, I'll take and squeeze them onto these things. Heavy gloves with a little bit of insulation or thick leather will help a lot with this, because this stuff gets hot. You can tell when the PVC is ready to stretch. It'll flex a lot. You know, at some point it'll start to burn and brown up, and you don't want that to happen. But it works fairly quickly here with the heat gun. They get really hot. So almost there. All right. Now you can see this PVC pipe is just flexible. And I can just rotate that and put it right on the end of this pipe, like that. And then I got my cap. So I'm going to do the other three. So here's the basket. I've got it all set up now. I just dug a hole in the ground and planted it in the ground for now. It's a little bit low, but it'll work. So we're done deal. The chains are about the same width as a regular disc basket. They just do it in kind of a square pattern instead of a full circular pattern. But they've got good coverage everywhere, so the disc shouldn't go through that. And now we just have to use it.